You want to know exactly how to figure out what is hurting your sales performance. In this video, I'm going to break down the exact reasons why your sales performance is hurting, what you should look for now, how to fix it in the future. My name is Brandon Biskey. I'm the co-founder of Make Sales Great Again. I've sold hundreds of millions of dollars of products and services for over the past 20 years, been running record-breaking sales teams for the past 10, and I've come up to this issue a lot. And now with Make Sales Great Again and consulting and coaching thousands of sales reps, this comes up 95% of the time, no matter small company or large company. So now I want to give you the tools you need to succeed and not have that conversation with anyone else. So let's hop in right into it. Salespeople come to us all the time and they say this thing, Brandon, dude, I'm not writing the business that I want to write. What the hell am I doing wrong? And simply put, the answer is really a question. And it's actually a lot of questions, and questions that 90% of reps don't know the answers to. So I want to break that down first to set the context for this conversation. It all boils down to 3 letters. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. Now here's the thing. Tracking is boring. It isn't sexy. And it isn't even helpful if you just do that. It is the thing that all salespeople hate to talk about, the CRM. The sales manager breathing down your neck to update the CRM and put on your, what did you do for activity today and all this bull. Salespeople hate it, and I get it. But coming from my point of view and your manager's point of view and business owner's point of view, the data is the thing that tells the story. No matter if you are a business running a $100 million company or if you're someone like me helping a salesperson get more sales and make more money, data is what tells the story. So I'll tell you what works. It's knowing not only the numbers, which requires you to track them, but it's knowing the story that the numbers are telling you, and then what decisions to make thereafter based on that story, based on the data. So I want to dive very specifically into some scenarios and give you some real tactical information to give you that's going to help you move forward. Doesn't matter if you started in sales yesterday and you've been there, or you've been in sales for 20 years. I guarantee that this will help you make more money in sales, and I guarantee even the 20-year veteran probably isn't tracking more than 80% of these things, and they should. So in this example, we're going to break down a very simple scenario. And we've broken the process down, the sales process down into 5 steps. We've got outreach. I don't care if it's phone, text, email, whatever. We have, are they engaged? Is the prospect, is the consumer, did they respond to you and engaged in conversation letting you speak? Then in this scenario, we're assuming that the next part of the process is you're setting an appointment. So the question is, did you set the appointment or not? Then from there, did you run the appointment or not? And then from there, did you get the deal? So quick recap of the 5 steps we're using for this scenario. This sales process is outreach, engagement, appointment set, appointment ran, did you get a deal or not? So as you see on the screen, I wanted to highlight just 2 KPIs that are associated with the transition from one stage to the next. These are not the only 2 KPIs. They are just 2 of the most important that at the most basic level, you should know these numbers for yourself or for your sales team or for your business if you're running a business. So I'm gonna break down each one, but from outreach to engagement, a couple of the key KPIs associated with that transition from I made the dial to are we engaged in conversation is number 1, contact rate, and number 2, conversation rate. So I wanna break all these definitions down for you at 5th grade level so anyone could understand it. You don't have to be a numbers person to get this stuff. You just have to understand these simple things. So number 1 is the contact rate. How many people actually picked up or responded when you reached out? Number 2 is conversation rate. How many of those contacts turned into a real conversation? Then you have book rate. How many of those conversations turned into an appointment? Then you have the book rate per lead source. So how often people from each lead source are booking an appointment with you. This one's key if you're dealing with multiple lead channels, so you can determine which lead channel is the best. Should we replace one, buy more of this lead over here, etc. So it's important to get granular on that one. Then you have show rate. How many people who booked an appointment with you actually showed up to the appointment, whether it's in person or virtual. Then you have booking window effect. So how does the time between booking the meeting and the meeting itself affect the show rate? So for instance, if I book meetings with a bunch of people for tomorrow, there's a higher likelihood they're going to show to that appointment. There's less variables between now and at that point. If I book a meeting with someone for 2 weeks from now, the likelihood of them showing up to that appointment is slim to none. And it's because things can happen. There's a lot more variables between 2 weeks versus a day. And it's important to track that to understand where's the key window that I should not book past. Then you have close rate. How many of your meetings turn into a deal? Very simple. And last but not least, the time to close. How long does it take from the first meeting to closing the deal? Not all sales are a one-call close, as they call it. Not all sales is like, cool, I got the meeting, I pitch them the thing, and they buy the thing. Most sales, more than 80% of sales, industry-wide, take multiple touches to close the deal. But obviously, we want to shorten that sales cycle as much as possible so we get speed to revenue. If I'm buying leads, if I'm paying for marketing, if I'm running this business, running a sales team, if I've got salespeople trying to make money and they're not going to get paid until the deal's closed and invoiced, then I want to make sure I shorten that cycle as much as possible so I get money faster and sales reps get paid faster. So I want to look into a couple of the specific transitions from step to step to really drill down and give you an example of whether you're a rep and you don't know how to do this, ask your manager. If you're a manager and you don't know how to do this, figure it out and do this with your rep. If you're running a business and you don't know how to do this, figure it out and do it with your managers, to do it with your reps, etc. So we're gonna look at a specific scenario. We're gonna start at the first two pieces of the process. We're gonna look at outreach, again, phone call, text, email, whatever, to are they engaged? Did they start a conversation with you? Doesn't mean they're buying, but did they just start a conversation? So two key KPIs in that section are contact rate and conversation rate, right? We talked about contact rate being how many of the people that we're reaching out to actually do we contact? Do they pick up the phone or answer the email, whatever? And then the conversation rate is out of all of the actions that we do, out of all the dials, the texts, the emails, what percentage of all that activity turns into someone engaging, someone replying to an email with a positive reply, someone answering the phone that lets you tell them what it is that you're there to talk about. So let's look at the examples of if you have a low contact rate and or a low conversation rate. So as an example, if you have a low contact rate, meaning you're not getting in touch with anybody, you're dialing, you're texting, you're emailing, you're doing all the things right, but you're not talking to anybody and no one or their mother is reaching back out to you to say that they even received the message. If that number is super low, assuming you're doing the activities that you should and the prospecting that you should, there's a couple of things that could be going on that's going to take you to really deep dive into your process to figure out which one it is. Number one is bad data and lead source. So for example, you just could have a bad list of data. You could just have a bad lead vendor or a bad lead source. I know salespeople don't always like to blame the leads, but there are times when the lead is the issue. It's potential that that could be true. So that's one option. The second option is the outreach times and the way in which you're reaching out. So for instance, if you call a lead at 8 a.m. every morning and that lead doesn't answer, and then you call that same lead at 8 a.m. the next morning and that lead doesn't answer, and then you call the same lead the next day at 8 a.m. and that lead doesn't answer, odds are the person's busy and they're never going to answer the phone. Odds are they may answer a text and they'll never answer a phone call, or they may answer emails all the time and they'll never answer a phone call or a text. So the time of the day in which you're reaching out to prospects, depending on your perfect ICP, or the way in which you're reaching out, whether it's text, phone call, email, whatever, that matters for different people. I'm a person that if your number is not saved in my phone, I'm not answering the phone call. If it's important, you leave a voicemail, I'll listen to the voicemail. If I want to call you back, I'll call you back. And if I don't, I don't. But if you text me, I'll probably respond. I'm not the same as everyone. So you just have to figure that out. And the only way to figure that out is to track the data and look at the numbers to determine where do I need to adjust. And then the third potential issue is if you're, for instance, if you're emailing or making phone calls, is that you're getting spam likely. You're doing so much prospecting that you're getting spam likely on your phone, or Gmail or your email provider has marked your email as a high likelihood of spam and you're going to the junk folder. So that's an option too. Now let's talk quickly about a low conversation rate. And that's different than a low contact rate. A low conversation rate is of the people that you do contact, the people that say hi, the people that say, who's this? How many of those contacts turn into a real conversation? Not a F off, kick rocks, don't ever call me again, put me on the DNC, take me off your list, but a conversation. They're open to at least hearing what you have to say. We want to track those to see, because if you have a low conversation rate, again, a couple options could be: one, the hook is wrong. That first 5 seconds is crucial. The first words that come out of your mouth and the way in which you're speaking them are massively important, more than any script you could ever have. So maybe your hook is just wrong. Another thing is just the overall scripting, the word play that you're using, the thing that you're focusing on, that thing that you chose to talk about in the first 5 seconds is not the right thing that's going to hook them to get them engaged and curious in your thing. And then last but not least, 95% of all communication is nonverbal, between body language and tonality. So your tonality in and of itself, you could have the perfect words and the perfect hook and the perfect everything, but if your tonality isn't hitting, if it isn't the right tonality for the prospect, then they're not going to listen to a word that you have to say. So that just gives you some example of, just in that, of the 5 parts of the process, all we're talking about is the first one to the second one. And all we're talking about is 2 KPIs within that and some scenarios, multiple different variables that could be going wrong within that one little chunk of the process. And all that data will tell you the story. And based on that story, you can go, cool, I need to switch up my dial times, and not call the same person 8 a.m. every morning. Maybe I need to email them here, text them here. Maybe I need to adjust my hook. Maybe I need to adjust the way in which I speak. You can't make any of those decisions unless you know what these numbers are, and more importantly, you know what the story it is that they tell. So, if we move on to the massive key in all of this, if you'll notice a second ago I said low contact rate, low conversation rate, but the words low and high are completely relative. You have to figure out the average. You have to figure out the benchmark and measure against that. This is easily said, and it's more difficult to be done. If you're a rep and you're working at a company and it's a long-standing company, I promise you, most likely they have data that over tens of thousands, if not millions of phone calls and texts and emails, on average, for our business, for our leads, for our process and our scripting, the average person, not the best, not the worst, but the average rep, I'm making up numbers here, it takes 300 dials for them to net 1 appointment. And they'll get 10 conversations out of those dials, and they'll have a 50% contact rate. They'll have some benchmarks so that you can, when you go to do your 300 dials a day or 400 dials a day or whatever it is that you're doing, you'll be able to measure over time against the average, against the benchmark, against the expectation. Because without that number, then it's an emotional guess. Without that number, rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection of doing 200 calls with no results whatsoever feels horrible. But in reality, 200 calls is absolutely nothing. So you have to have a benchmark to measure against, not only so you know where to adjust, but to help manage your own mental fortitude in handling mass rejection in sales. Another key here is understanding that, just like I said, you cannot track too soon, meaning you cannot look at numbers within 2 days and go, hey, I've made 500 dials, or I've sent 400 emails, or I've sent 50 text messages, and I tried this thing. Oh my God, I haven't hit the benchmarks. This is not working. It's not for me. The script sucks. The lead sucks. I shouldn't be in sales. I need to find another job, whatever. You can't go to that place so early. So I've got a couple things to help with that. First, we'll do a quick recap. Number 1, you can't fix what you can't track. Data tells the story. Data runs all businesses no matter what. Now, from contact to the deal, there are multiple completely different skill sets. The only way to know where you're failing is data, not feelings. So what do I mean by that? We talked about outreach, engagement, appointment set, appointment ran, etc. You can be amazing at getting people into conversations on the phone, but you can talk to thousands of people and never set a single appointment because you suck at the conversation, bringing it from just normal conversation to setting an appointment. Or you could be the person that sets 90% of the conversations you have, boom, you're getting an appointment, and that's fire. But then none of your appointments ever show up. So you suck at solidifying appointments on the back end. Those two skill sets alone are completely different sales skill sets. The skill of booking a super solid appointment is a completely different skill than gaining sales conversations within the first 5 seconds of dialing or emailing a prospect. Completely different. And that's just two, just in the first 1 to 2 pieces of the process. There's 10 to 20, maybe 30 different skill sets between first contact to contract signed. Completely different. So if you're not getting results, if the end thing is, I'm not making the money I want to, what do I do? The answer is a lot of questions. We have to drill down to understand what is the one skill set that has our highest leverage and highest opportunity, that if we just fix that, you've got the opportunity to increase your results by 2, 4, 5x. That's what we want to focus on. Number 3, you do not need to be a numbers person to know how to track your KPIs. You do not. It does not take a mathematician. It's addition and subtraction. I think we might have learned that in 3rd or 4th grade, maybe earlier. All you have to have is a pen and a piece of paper, and you mark down what you called, when you emailed, etc., etc. You don't need a fancy CRM. You don't need any of those things. All you need to do is to have the wherewithal to get out a pen and a piece of paper and understand the importance of these KPIs. Number 4, the daily tracking literally takes minutes, so there is no excuse. I know salespeople hate it. I get it. I was that too. But the importance of it should overcompensate for just the lack of willingness to do it. And last but not least, the question is, we talked a little bit about it earlier. You shouldn't be looking at the data almost too soon because you haven't done enough stuff to really have a big enough data set, in a nerdy way to put it, to determine, am I doing good or not? You don't work for a day and you go, oh, I didn't hit the benchmarks based on 300 calls. Oh my God, I suck. What's wrong with the script? What's wrong with the leads? What's wrong with sales? I don't want to be in sales. I need a salary job, whatever. You don't do that. You haven't done anything yet. So the question is, how much data? Now, that's an answer that's hard to answer, but I got a quick rule of thumb. The first one is 4 digits of outreach. So at least 1,000 emails, texts, phone calls, whatever, of each, before you even consider issues with outreach. The next one is 3 digits in conversation. So at least 100 true sales conversations before you really start to look at, am I good at setting appointments or do I suck at setting appointments? Last but not least, 2 digits of appointments ran. So at least 10 appointments that you truly ran, like the pitch went down, to determine, am I good at the pitch? Am I good at closing deals? Do I suck at closing deals? What do I need to work on? That is the quick recap. I wanted to get down in this video the importance of the KPIs, and not just the nerdy numbers, but the story that they can tell you and the value of the data. Because whether you're a sales rep, sales manager, or business owner, data tells the story and runs everything. My name is Brandon Biskey. This is Make Sales Great Again. I'll see you next time.